Welcome back, subscribers. Crypto freedom money. That's the title of this. It's not. A lot of people are going to be like not too happy with that. If you got into the system pretty early, and the way the crypto bros were really pushing it was just again propaganda piece to get people interested and invested in it and exercise the system. It was a way to fund uh, the crypto sandbox, if you will. And it was really super fun and exciting, and it was very electric. A lot of money poured into it. A lot of people made a lot of money. If you did, bravo. Our company did really well with it. Um, but we used it as a business tool. Wasn't a Lambo type of thing for us. But at any rate, the way that things are moving forward and some of the information that we have uh, inside of our group identifies that this is absolutely not the case, that it's not going to be a sail off into the sunset and hang on to this stuff like it's, buying Amazon at launch. That's not what it is. And the more that we kept digging into it and making some phone calls and finding out some more about it, identified that uh, it's it's not all bad. If you follow the new rules that are coming out, it still has a tremendous benefit for business owners. It's huge, and that's what we really talk about inside of our group. Is like how can we actually use this as a beneficial tool for businesses? And there's some really great features tax wise and strategies that you can use with crypto. And it's not just like buying it and buying low and selling high type of crap. It's actually like using it as an investment strategy tool to mitigate taxation, which is huge. So they're setting this up for primarily corporations. And so people that are in the privatized market are going to be, in the future, from what we understand, are going to be pretty heavily penalized by owning it. They've already tabled this in Washington about using unrealized gains against the crypto annually. So essentially, it won't matter. They'll if you have it and they accrue like say a 30% capital gains tax on an unrealized gain, there'll be really no interest in keeping it because you'll be paying taxes on it and you haven't even made a trade. So some of the language that they're already using is identifying that to be the case. Now, what we understand just from making phone calls and doing business with it and talking to the professionals that are in the space is that they are making it advantageous for businesses. So it's not necessarily just big businesses. It's like it was created for businesses by businesses. All right. So there's large corporate interests. There's national interests. I'm talking like countries. This is a global system essentially that is being implemented in, and because of that, the the citizens are always left, holding the bag, always, and this will be literally, and that's a shame. But knowing that before these things happen would be an advantage. As you say, like, all right, well, if I do own it personally, is there a way for me to kind of shift it and put it into a place that isn't going to hurt me too bad? And the answer is like, yes, absolutely. There's things that you can do. And that's what we talk about in our group. And like, how can you either if you do have these assets, how you can position and place yourself so that you're uh, taking full advantage of what the system is. It's about speed and transparency in business. And it's basically kind of turning the tables on the old way of business, where it used to be those that are business owners will know what I'm talking about, or people that are starting or going into business will know about this. That you've heard the businesses, the customer's always right. All right. Well, in this new system with transparency that's becoming into it, that is one of the advantages of it, is that actually the business is always right because we're the ones that set the contracts, and it's basically going to be like basically a black and white system. That if you don't follow the policies and you don't follow the rules, then the business is correct. Is correct. And we're actually seeing this actually trickling down in one of our other companies because we're using just software. It's not even crypto, it's just straight software. And that we're identifying to customers that we have digital um mapping of the transaction, not just the invoice, but also like email correspondences. That the softwares are so intelligent that we've already thought of all these things. So that every time that somebody makes an excuse in business, then the customer's always right, right? But you're already seeing this as a consumer. You're seeing this already starting to trickle down inside of your space. So, like, say when Amazon just first got started, I'll just give an example of this. Um, Amazon, you get a delivery at your door, and you'd say like, well, it never came. You could just say that, and even though like people were working the system, all right, and that's really what this is all about: is creating a system that can't be worked, all right, that it is digital transparency. So what does Amazon start doing? They're like, oh, well, we'll just take a picture of it. We'll take a picture of it. It's on your door, to your doorstep, boom, 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 boom. And this isn't about like thieves stealing it from you, but even if the thief does steal it from you, it's been delivered to your home address. All right. And that's a big factor. So that's already come into play, that they want to know what you're buying, where it's going, and they're identifying it in a way that gives the appearance that they're doing everything that they were supposed to do. That if you didn't see it on your door, now somebody has a Ring doorbell and they're like, well, I just saw my neighbor steal my package off my doorstep. And Amazon's like, well, that's your problem. That's not our problem anymore. So, but that was always a cost back to the business. So the business owner is having, what do you do? Well, we'll just charge more money, and that was like a gray area that would happen in any business, that it's a loss, and that you would just write the loss off, but the business has to eat that. And then what happens? They have to charge more money for delivery of product, and it keeps going on and on and on and on and on. And that type of behavior, it's going to end. It's going to be, it's not necessarily maybe going to totally end, where people are still going to, the people will always figure out a way to work the system. But ultimately, it's a mechanism that is in place to shift the tables on the consumers, so that those that are producing in the system are going to be the ones that are the ones that are super important. Because if you take us out as the producers, the businesses, and you take out the service people that are coming to your house and repairing things and so on and so on, that if you take them out, you have nothing. You have no business, no commerce. So the upper level administration is trying to protect that, because that also reinforces the economy of the United States. I'm just talking the U.S. This is a rampant thing that happens everywhere in all different varying degrees. But I'm just going to talk in U.S. terms. So that type of behavior, it just can't happen. We just don't have any time for that as business owners. Is like when somebody invoices something, it gets to your door and it's not broken, it's exactly the way that you want it, and you hand it to them. That's it. The transaction's over. Thank you very much. You want to buy another one? Great. And that's what we're in from a business perspective. That's what you're doing. But whenever you have these bad actors, these people that are out like working the system, it's not good for business. It is not good for, because what ultimately happens on our side from business owners, we just increase the prices. That's it. And then everybody pays. So the people that are honest and legit, you're paying more money for your products because somebody's not following the rules. So the new system that's coming in is a digital transparent system, which also it's already starting to seep in. You're starting to see this because of the digital identifications, what's on your phone. They know your IP address. They know exactly where you are at any one given time. So for people looking at transparency, that, the governments are like, it's some big brother thing, and be like, well, it's actually really from a business perspective, and knowing like who's doing what and who are the ones that are breaking the rules. And it's not everybody. Most people follow the rules, really, but it's the ones that aren't, and be like, you need to kind of take them out of the game, because business, we don't have any time for that. We don't have any time for people that are just making stuff up. And I've got a business that I could tell story after story after story about people that are paying for product. It's a very simple business. It's a service cleaning business, very simple. And the customers forget. They don't know the policies. People that have been with us for years, we come every 4 weeks, years. And then all of a sudden they forget how it works. They just forget. And then when you identify to them that they've made a mistake, they get upset. And then they quit. I don't need your service anymore. You basically give them a reason not to have them, have service anymore. And it's been a very interesting experience. And me working, I want to have her on our in our private channel and talk about this, because she's a software engineer, and she's essentially created a software that is not crypto based, but it's digital software that allows us from a business perspective to have like full, clear transparency with our customers. And it works great. And we don't make any mistakes, but the people who have always been making mistakes are just continuing to make mistakes like they always have. And a lot of them, sometimes they own up to it. Sometimes the people do. We'll send them a picture or whatever else that the services have been done, and they'll say, I'm sorry, da, 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 I didn't know. I'd say probably, I don't think it's 50-50. After doing it, we've been doing this business for 6 years, and it's not 50-50. It's probably more like 60-40 of the people getting pissed off and quitting because they've been identified as being forgetful or not following the rules. So that's not good for business either. So it's just a very interesting time right now. But yeah, the what crypto does is it's a software, it's an accounting software to identify transparency. That's what it is. And because it's made by businesses for businesses, the people that are just sitting on it thinking it's going to be some huge cash cow for them, it was never intended for the regular civilian environment. It wasn't intended for that. It was intended for businesses to be using it in everyday business affairs to enable this transparency. So at any rate, that's what this is about, and it's probably going to like really piss a lot of people off. But we can already see this because we can see where the compliance level elements are coming inside the digital space that we're having to contend with as business owners to actually use it, to use some of these digital platforms, and it's either black or white. It's either you're following the rules or you're not. Period. At the end of discussion, and they're enabling that inside of the corporate space. They're not doing it for regular consumers, regular retail, civilian space. They are not permitted in those spaces. So they're only, because inside, if you're a business owner, there's like a specific language as a business owner. You have to automatically be compliant. Secretary of State, licensing, whatever you have to, insurance, so on and so on and so on. It goes down the list. And all those elements that you have to do as a business owner, it's a cost. And instead of it, ballooning out of control like it's been for, ever, that they're dialing it back, and they now have a technology software available, and that's what crypto is. That's all it is. So it's great for businesses. It's really good for businesses. There's lots of advantages for us inside the space. So it's like they're kind of carving out this territorial. It's very similar to, I've used this before. It's like, the analogy would be like if you've ever been to a casino. Now, I'm not a gambler, but maybe you are. It's fine. But it's as if you go to the casino and you take $1,000. You go to the casino, you cash out for chips, just plastic chips. You can't use them outside the casino. It's only in the casino. But once the chips are in it, you can do whatever you want inside the casino as long as they'll take the chips, right? And that's what the crypto space is. It's basically a digital casino environment, not necessarily a gambling environment, but it's a safe haven for businesses to be able to do transparent business with one another, because we've all been identified. We all know everybody's all good for it, because there's a lot of really criminal activity that happens inside the business space that you don't really know who you're doing business with. But if someone's been identified and they're a real customer, it's not a scam, so on and so on and so on, you can see where that starts to kind of play in, where it becomes really advantageous for a business owner. I mean, if you have to go out and you have to call somebody to, a service industry job, business or something that's going to come to your place of business, and you don't know who they are, you have no reference from anybody else. This is basically kind of like a digital imprint reference that says, okay, I'm inside of the digital space. I've already KYC'd, know your customer. I've identified myself. AML, I'm not money laundering. There's a number of factors, and that you've gone through the compliances. It's like in the state of North Carolina, I was a licensed general contractor, and I've got a number. I have to pay yearly for those fees in order to keep my license up. And so if somebody looked me up, they have an identification that my number was 52333 of my license number in North Carolina. They'd say like, okay, he's licensed. This is this guy, identification. He's a licensed general contractor. That's different than somebody who's just scribbling on the side of a van, Joe's construction company with a Sharpie. There's a huge difference. And because we mean business. And that's essentially what it is. But there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be hanging on to that fairy tale that it's just sail off in the sunset and it's freedom money and all that other business. And that's absolutely not the case. So anyway, that's what we talked about in our group, and some of the private conversations that we have with professionals that are inside the space, and trying to learn how we can use it for our benefit to basically take all of the headaches out of doing business, and that's maybe not all of them. Even if we can get rid of one would be great, right? So that's essentially what it does. And that's why it's private, because it's a special club. If you're a business owner or you're an entrepreneur, somebody wants to get into a business, and you just kind of want to get your foot in the door and kind of see how it works. I said it's a different language. It's a totally different space. A business owner is, I said, different than a 9-to-5, W-2er. So that's what we talk about, and that's what the reservoir is. So if you want to know, tune in more, check us out at on our website in a description below, and you can learn more about it. And we talk about history and history of business, digital business, and some of this activity that's happening that in the news, they're going to make it seem like they don't know what's going on. We don't know how to fix this. It's a problem, problem, reaction, solution. But they already have in place, working behind the scenes, is a system that is a lot better. It's a lot better than the old system. And it gets rid of a lot of that nefarious BS behavior of people that are just working it and trying to take advantage of other people. So anyway, more to come. Cheers.